I know I'm not your personal financial advisor, but sometimes I feel like that because you guys will leave me comments going, hey, this really helped me retire early. This is something I just wouldn't have considered otherwise because I'm not doing it all day. And so I do believe that I have this job, so to speak, to make sure I'm educating you all properly. Now, the fun part is I love doing it. So it's not a burden in any way. It's the opposite. But there's something I want to share with you. And this is how I want to start this episode. So what I love about my job is getting to advise people about, hey, here's something that you just didn't know that might really shift your retirement, how you can save on healthcare costs, how you can create income, how you can, you name it. But my partner, James, and the founder of Root, his dad once told him something that I want to tell you all right now. And so James is the founder of Root. I'm the chief growth officer at Root. We are growing Root as sustainably as we can. So the service never suffers. And what we really care about is that clients go, wow, my life is way better working with Root. And when James was speaking to his dad told James his job is not to be an advisor. And James said, that's interesting because I'm a financial advisor. And his dad said, your job is not to advise. Your job is to organize people's thinking, which is sometimes telling people what not to worry about. And that's what today's going to be about, because I think a lot of you are worrying unnecessarily. I have a phrase for this that I made up. I call it head trash, where you're literally thinking about things that you worry about that you do not need to worry, but you're worrying. It's a real worry, but it's fake. And the reason it's fake is through this example. So there's a funny one, but it's important. So I had someone reach out and go, all right, I really don't think I should retire early because I have $2 million. I'm kind of a big spender and I just don't think I have enough, but I don't love my job. And I said, why do you feel like you can't retire early? They said, well, I have a neighbor and my neighbor and I are very transparent with finances. They have more money and they want to spend less than me. So like, I know I'm not in a good spot. I said, you don't know that because you don't know their planning and their legacy goals. They're like, yeah, I get that. But I really just think that honestly, there's no way I'm in a good spot. And the reality is they were in a great spot. Yes, they wanted to spend a good amount of money, but it wasn't forever. And it was to tackle travel and different things that to them was really important. And I was never going to tell them to go retire early for the sake of it because that's the last thing in the world I would ever do. But I also don't want someone mad at me when they're 85 with plenty of money, wishing they retired earlier when they actually had their energy and health. And so this person reached out a few months later and said, hey, my neighbor has a big home remodel that they're going to do. And they're actually planning on moving, but not moving and downsizing, meaning moving to get a second home. And so, yeah, they're not maybe going out to eat as much. Maybe they're not spending on their kids as much, but they really did have some big financial goals. And so the point here is this person was thinking, there's no way I can retire early because look at my neighbor, when that's just not the case. It's just head trash. So what I'm going to tell you today is a lot of head trash that hopefully should stop make you worrying. And sometimes my job, by the way, is to tell my clients, this is something to worry about. Markets are shifting. Let's talk about your portfolio. Can it still create the income you need? So I'm not Mr. Nice Guy. In fact, I will joke on my YouTube videos that I'm the meanest financial advisor. I promise I'm not mean. I'm very transparent. And I try to do it in a fun, enlightening way because my parents had an advisor at one point. They had a few. And that's the reason I do this today because they weren't all optimal, let's say. And that's me being nice here. And it was always, here we go, financial advisor. More numbers, more graphs. I'm going to pretend not to fall asleep or, I really like this stuff, but my spouse is never interested in finances because they keep it as dry as can be. And I was trying to think of a dry food, but I just had dried mango a little bit. And that's a bad example because I really liked that. But anyways, you get my point. So I'm going to hop into these 6 things that maybe you just don't need to worry about, but they're also mistakes that hopefully you don't make. So if you're new to the show, welcome. I love getting to do this. If you have not left a review on iTunes, if that's where you listen, please do, or just send me a note. It's fun for me to get to hear how I do help all of you. And once again, this does feel like my job in a way, in the best way possible. So send me a note via email, leave a comment on my earlyretirementpodcast.com. Send us a note at Root Financial, hello@rootfinancialpartners.com. Leave a review on Google. Like this helps more people find the show and I really appreciate it. So thank you in advance for doing that. And then finally, I ask that if you want to retire early, that's awesome, but retire early with friends. It's more fun. If you retire early and you're like, I crushed it and you have no one to hang out with, well, then it's not going to be nearly as enjoyable. It'll still be probably way better than you working, but you get my point. So I am Ari Taublieb. I'm the Chief Growth Officer here at Root, and I love what I get to do, which is make podcasts like this on different topics, whether it be tax strategy, healthcare, withdrawal, estate, you name it. Let's hop in. Hey everyone, just real quick, please, please, please be smart about this. All of the information that I talk about on these videos/podcasts should not be construed as financial advice. Please consult with a financial professional or CPA or attorney before actually executing anything that I say in these videos. Love you guys, and thank you for supporting the channel. So 6 common mistakes when retiring early. I'm going to go through each of these and I'm going to give an example. So the first common mistake, and this is something that if all of you guys were on the amount of calls I'm on, you would see, oh my gosh, this is really that common. I just think it's hard to believe, but I'm going to tell it to you right now. So these are people that are 53. They reach out and they go, look, I've done well. I have $3 million in my 401k or 2.5. And I feel like I'm a savvy investor, but it's time to call it quits. And I don't want to work part-time. I'm over it. But I don't really want to take this huge penalty, this huge 10% penalty to take money out of my 401k and pay taxes. So I'm just going to keep working. And what they didn't do is they didn't think about having a superhero account, which is what I call a brokerage account or a taxable account or a joint or individual. They're all named the same thing. They're all a taxable account, which is not a tax advantaged account. So you don't get to put money into that like a 401k and get a deduction, but there's no restrictions in terms of when you can access the money. So not enough people have a taxable, a superhero account to help them bridge the gap. And then when they get it, the mistakes they'll make is they'll make it super aggressive because they're like, this is a superhero account, right? It should be like the best account. No, that's the first account you're going to touch. You want that to be way safer. You want your other accounts, like your 401k, to be a little less safe because you want it to grow for you. You might not touch it for a few years, but you still need it pretty safe. And then your Roth IRA, yeah, you want that super aggressive because you're not going to be touching that for a long time. So the number one mistake is people don't have this account at all. And if you don't, get on it and you're going to thank me later. This is called a brokerage account. I had someone call up Vanguard and say, I want a superhero account. That's what this guy on this crazy podcast told me. No, they didn't say crazy, but that's what they said. And I laughed because it's not a real name of an account. I made it up. Superhero, that's what I call this taxable account because it is the superhero. It's the best account that actually lets you retire early. It lets you keep your income low because you can use this account to pay for living when you retire early. If you pull from your 401k or an IRA, that's withdrawing income as if you just made more money. It's called ordinary income taxes. Brokerage accounts are subject to capital gains taxes, which is lower and sometimes 0%. So not having a way to bridge the gap, that's the first issue I see. And people that do have the account, they don't have it set up properly. So if you're listening going, I have a superhero account. Oh my gosh, that brokerage account. I'm so glad I started that when I was younger. Good job, because not enough people actually have this account. For those that do, they find out late and then they put some money into it. So they limit their 401k contributions because they see the value of this. And then they go, yeah, but now I have 75,000 or 200,000 bucks in there. It's going to help my retirement, but why didn't I have way more? I never see people say, I had too much in my superhero account and I don't have enough in my 401k. It's always the opposite. Number 2, overlooking healthcare costs. Now, let me clarify here. I'm not saying overlooking as in, oh my gosh, it's going to cost me so much. There's no way I can retire early. I'm talking about not planning, meaning overlooking the planning for healthcare. And the reason I say that is I have clients that spend $100 a month on healthcare and they're in a great spot. And they have a really healthy subsidy and they have $4 million. And what that means is if you keep your income low because you have a superhero account, you're basically telling the government, hey, look, we are eligible for a subsidy. We don't have enough income. Even if you have $4 million in an IRA, that doesn't mean that you don't get this subsidy. So you can be really strategic and keep your income really low, but have a really healthy portfolio. So the point here is don't overlook healthcare costs and simply go, I can't retire early because of healthcare. That is you cheating yourself. It is a cost. Sometimes it's a significant cost, but not doing the full analysis is you cheating yourself. So even if you're 5 years out or 10 years out from retirement, I would encourage you to start playing with a calculator that is telling you exactly what healthcare costs would look like. I think we have the best one, and we partner with Move Health, who is the best healthcare company in the world when it comes to early retirement planning. I personally use them for my parents, my clients. They're the best. movehealth.io. And I don't get paid more by telling you guys about them or not. I just think they're great. Move Health is awesome. They have a calculator. It's in my Early Retirement Academy. So if you want to use that, you can learn more in the description to join that academy. Number 3 is not having a tax strategy. So I talked about paying 0% in taxes. Yeah, that is a reality when you retire early if you have a superhero account. Not considering Roth conversions. that might yield hundreds of thousands of more dollars for you tax-free in retirement. So I have a ton of videos on tax strategy, which is my favorite thing to talk about because it's the number one most overlooked aspect of planning, in my opinion. And that's my background. I was working at a company that specialized in creating tax-free income in retirement, and I brought it to the early retirement world. Number 4, not spending on health before early retirement. I'll see people who are like, hey, I'm going to retire early, then I'm going to focus on prioritizing my health. Then I'm going to hike, then I'm going to travel, which I understand because, you don't have unlimited time. But I would think about it like training. I'm currently training for an upcoming soccer tournament. I'm going to the gym more. I'm doing yoga more. I have more motivation because I have a tournament and I'm a calendar guy. I need to see something on the calendar. I need to be excited for it. That's how my brain works. I think you should do the same for your early retirement. It's time to train. So you can't get there and then be like, now I'll figure it out. No, start training today. Easier said than done, because I know a lot of you are like, hey, I have a family, I'm working, but it's about priority. And so sometimes my tough love for clients is, hey, you tell me you want to hike Mount Kilimanjaro and you want to travel and you want to do all this fun stuff. Great. I don't know if your body is in a position to do that because you told me you haven't worked out for a few years. So start prioritizing health. And sometimes it's as simple as me saying, look, I don't know if it's possible, but could you cut down to 4 days a week? Maybe it's less income. It probably would be, but look, your finances are going to be okay if you're still adding X amount to your 401k. And that's 1 day a week where it's like you're prioritizing health a ton. I don't love the recommendation. I'd rather you do 30 minutes a day than 2 hours on a Friday. But I had one client that told me it was really helpful for them. And they're like, then all of a sudden I kind of got addicted to it and I made it work. And so it was what they needed to get them over that hump. Number 5, not thinking about your dream retirement. Oh, I see this all the time. I'm going to retire. I'm going to spend $7,000 a month. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, maybe there's a new car I'm going to buy or a home remodel I need to do. But no, I'm pretty much just, I think $7,000 a month is good. Then they retire and go, I have way more time. I have way more of my health than I thought I was going to have because I only worked out on Fridays before. No, I'm just messing around with you guys there. But not thinking about a dream retirement is the biggest issue, because here's someone that could get by on $7,000 a month, but that $84,000 a year plus a remodel and travel, look, that's a lot of money. But to be honest, this couple that I'm thinking of, they would love to spend way more, and they don't hate their job. So for them, it probably makes sense to work another 2 years, even if right now they're 58. And if they're listening, they're like, you're explaining my situation. I am, but I'm not saying your name. But they're 58. They don't hate their job. So it's like, hey, would you rather retire and spend $10,000 a month and never worry about, hey, what if I want to take an extra trip, and never worry about, hey, if I want to potentially get a second home, like that's now a possibility for you having to work 2 more years? For them, it was like, oh, this is interesting. For others, they're like, $10,000 a month, what would I do with $10,000 a month? If I had $6,000 a month, I'd be more than happy. And so that person should stop working because they don't need as much money. That doesn't add to their quality of life. So my ask of you, please dream big. Dream big. You don't have to do all of it, but at least think about it. Would you love to take 4 trips a year at $25,000 a year? Is that forever? Do you like new cars? Do you want to do a home remodel? Are you going to travel significantly? Do you want to take friends and family? So maybe dream before you actually kind of write out your expenses. But I do encourage you to write it out, because most people are like, yeah, I've got my bills and groceries and mortgage, but that's going to go away in retirement. And, I think we spend about $6,000 a month as a household. So if we could just have that, that'd be great. They're assuming it's going to be the same, and it's not. When you have more time, you spend more money. You probably recognize that because on the weekends, that's when your bills go up because you're doing more fun stuff. And if you're doing more fun stuff more often, great. That's why you're retiring early. So I'm proud of you, but I now need you to really spend knowing that you're in a position, to do that. And the number 6, the last one here, the mistake is people don't really think about purpose and fulfillment. They're like, yeah, I need to think about it, and I will, but right now I'm just so busy working. And so I'll play that role for clients, and we'll say, okay, let's pretend, you're retired. What do you want to spend your time doing? And they'll say, I'm going to volunteer, or I'm going to, what do I hear a lot of? Right now I hear a lot of, I'm going to play pickleball, or I'm going to travel, or I'm going to play golf. And I'll say, great. Let's assume the volunteer place shuts down and you hurt your back. Now what? And they're like, I don't know. Like that was the plan. It was volunteer at this one spot and golf. And now my wife or husband or partner, they're sick of me because I've never been home for this amount of time. And so they're kind of wishing I didn't retire this early or, not really. I don't hear that a ton, but sometimes you'd be shocked. So the point here is really do think about purpose and fulfillment. And if there's one thing I can tell you when it comes to like identity a little bit, which I know it could be a little woo-woo here, but just do me a favor and watch one documentary. I don't get any commission from this. It's called In and of Itself. In and of Itself. It's on Hulu. It's a great documentary. I think it's on Disney Plus as well. This is what I ask my clients to listen to when they're 6 months out from retirement because it helps them think more about, okay, who am I? What do I want to do? And it's a kind of fun magic show a little bit. I'm not selling it well, but the point here is it's really interesting. And most of my clients go, look, if I didn't listen to this, it really would have been a different retirement. So, hour of your evening, if you don't mind, check that out and let me know what you think. If you go, hey, this was super helpful, I see why you recommend it, awesome. If you go, no, that actually made me not want to retire early, well, you'd be the first person to say that, but I appreciate all feedback. So that is it for this podcast episode, 6 mistakes I see a lot when people want to retire early. If once again, you guys want to work with Root, this is what we love to do. So please do reach out. You'll see the link in the description if you want to work with us and we'll go from there. That's it. See you guys next time.